Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope your day and your weekend have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. We have Game 2 of the NBA Finals going on tonight after an exhilarating Game 1. Whether the Pacers win this series or not, this has been one of the most impressive teams in the playoffs I've seen in a long time. The way they can just be losing with like less than 2 minutes to go in a game and somehow by the grace of God, it seems, come back and win these games. And Halliburton, the Halliban, has been unbelievable in these playoffs. They've been a really fun team to watch. And this is for the people who are like, oh, it's Pacers Thunder, the series isn't going to be good. Game 1 was one of the most exciting finals games I've seen. And I'm going to be honest, as a Celtics fan, as much as I loved winning the championship last year, Game 1 Pacers Thunder was better than any Celtics Mavs game in that entire series. So if you guys are crying about the ratings and all this stuff, this is a great NBA Finals series, and I cannot wait to give you guys another parlay for today's picks. Now, on Game 1, I had a 4-leg parlay, plus 297 odds. 3 out of 4 legs hit. The only leg that failed to hit was SGA, over 5.5 assists. He finished with just 3. A little bit of a ball hog in Game 1. Although he did have 11 potential assists, his teammates did kind of leave him out to hang there. But I did promise we were going to do our giveaway. There was no ties to winning the parlay or not. All you guys had to do was comment who you guys thought were going to win the finals. I was going to pick a winner for a free $25 Amazon gift card. Shout out to Derek. And you guys, if you watch my videos, you know I'm terrible with name pronunciations. Shout out to Derek Jonoasin 8879, UFC, KFC, OKC, and 5. I don't know if you're still feeling that way after Game 1. The Thunder would have to win 4 consecutive games, including 2 in Indiana, in order to make that prediction come true. But I like the UFC, KFC, OKC, and 5 thing. Got a chuckle out of me, caught my eye. So shout out to Derek Jonoasin 8879. Please contact me on my Instagram at TassosPicks. That's TASOS Picks. And we'll go ahead and get you that gift card. And since this is the NBA Finals and we have less than 6 videos at most, it could be 3, could be 4, could be 5. We don't have a lot of videos left together this year. I want to raise the stakes for these NBA Finals. So I'm going to be doing gift card giveaways every single video, but upping the stakes here. For today's video, all you have to do is comment finals down below. That's it. Comment finals down below. And if today's parlay hits, I'm picking one lucky commenter to win a free $50 Amazon gift card. We're going to raise the stakes here. And if this parlay hits tomorrow, or I guess Game 3, we'll raise it to a $100 Amazon gift card, and so on and so forth. So if we go on a little hot streak here with the parlays, the gift card values will continue to increase. But $50 today. If this one hits, $100 for Game 3, and so on and so forth. If it doesn't hit, that's another $50 gift card giveaway on Game 3, and we'll kind of go from there. So again, the parlay has to hit for you guys to win this one, but comment finals down below. And if this parlay hits, one lucky commenter win a free $50 Amazon gift card. All right, long intro out of the way, guys. We have a 5-leg parlay, tons of great props to get to. Let's dive right into today's Sexy Saturday NBA Finals Game 2 5-leg parlay. Put that on the damn poster. All right, guys. NBA Finals Game 2, of course, Pacers Thunder in OKC, 8 p.m. tip-off tonight. Our first leg of our 5-leg parlay. Some of these player props are going to look familiar from Game 1 because we are running a couple of them back with a little variation. But our first leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're going Isaiah Hartenstein of the Thunder over 11.5 points plus rebounds. We are using FanDuel for today's parlay, and again, we are using alternate lines for today's parlay. It's minus 220 over on FanDuel, so some pretty good value here. Again, I try not to go too crazy with the odds. Everything, I think the maximum one is like minus 260, minus 270, so I try not to go too crazy with the alternate lines. But the data is absolutely fantastic here. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 15.7 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. And again, in Game 1, he cashed the over, 9 points and 9 rebounds. This line is so small, he doesn't need to do a ton to go ahead and cash it. And I mean, the further you search the data out, it's really good. The reason why it's so good is because the line is a lot more decreased than it normally would be. 90% hit rate over his last 20 games, a 93% hit rate on the season. So really good numbers across the board for Hartenstein. But again, typically this line would not be at 11.5 points plus rebounds. The key reason why here is his minutes, right? He came off the bench in Game 1. He got benched in Game 1 of the finals. He's averaging over the last 5 games just 19 minutes per game. He played just 17 minutes in Game 1 for the Thunder. So the minutes thing, I talked about that a little bit in my last video, where that was the one big concern with Hartenstein is he going to play enough minutes to go ahead and cash this parlay? And he did, and I think that's the reason why I'm riding with it again. If they're giving us the line at 11.5, and granted, it's an alternate line, so it's not really 11.5. But if we're getting the line at 11.5, he doesn't need to play 30 minutes to cash the over, as he showed in game 1. And honestly, he left some opportunities on the table, right? He had 12 rebound chances in 17 minutes. He finished with 9 rebounds. And from shooting, he shot 3 for 5. So he had a couple missed shots as well, and yet he still cashed the over. Think about it. 8 points and 4 rebounds, which is not a crazy stat line. That cashes the over. Isaiah Hartenstein should be able to do that in even only playing 18 minutes or 17 minutes or so. It's a good defensive matchup. The Pacers down low, they are not a great team versus centers. 19th in points allowed, 25th in rebounds. Versus power forwards, very much the same. 20th in points, 25th in rebounds. So he doesn't need to play 30 minutes. As long as he plays at least in the ballpark of 20 minutes, this is a line he should definitely cash. It's a solid matchup. Even in these last 5 games where he's averaging 19 minutes per game, he still cashed it in 4 of the 5, averaging 13 points plus rebounds per game. So I'm still rocking with Hartenstein here. Risky, of course, everything is risky when it comes to betting player props. Even the head-to-head data, 7 of the last 12 versus Indiana. He's cashed the over, averaging 17 points plus rebounds per game against the Pacers. I think it's a really solid player prop to kick off today's parlay. All right, guys, our second leg of our 5-leg parlay, and spoiler alert, we're going very heavy on the Thunder players in today's parlay. I think 4 of the 5 legs are Thunder-oriented. But we're going Alex Caruso of the Oklahoma City Thunder over 7.5 points as the second leg of our 5-leg parlay, minus 178 is what we're grabbing it for over on FanDuel. Now, the overall season data is not great on this player prop, but we're not really too concerned about that. We're looking at the more recent data, the playoff data, if you will. And Caruso, 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 9.4 points per game over his last 10 games, including game 1 where he had 11 points in game 1. But let's go ahead and narrow that down a little bit just to go take a look at that game 1 performance where he had just 11 points. Honestly, he could have did more. Now, he played 28.5 minutes. That's something that's very intriguing to me. The fact that he played almost 30 minutes in game 1 is very encouraging going into game 2. We know he's going to get a ton of usage, a ton of minutes played here. But the key thing, he didn't even shoot the ball well. 3 for 8 shooting. He left a lot of opportunity on the table, and yet he still cashed the over with a few points to spare. So really good numbers there. Even the last 20 games, which are all playoff games by this point, 70% hit rate, 14 of his last 20, averaging 9.35 points per game over the last 20 games. Like I mentioned, the overall season data not as strong, say 49% hit rate on the year, but the regular season stuff was just not as solid. In the playoffs, he's been a lot more reliable when it comes to betting these player props. And from a head-to-head standpoint, 5 of his last 6 matchups with the Pacers, including obviously game 1, he's cashed the over, averaging 12.5 points per game across the last 6 matchups with Indiana. And the Pacers versus guards, 22nd in points allowed to point guards versus shooting guards are 21st. Defensively, the Pacers are not great, honestly, in a lot of categories. Besides the 3 spot, the rest of them defensively, they're not a great team defensively, but they just find a way. That's the magic of the Pacers, that they're really not a great defensive team, but yet they just find a way to persevere. They were losing the turnover battle and everything in game 1. They still came back and won. It was crazy. The Thunder outplayed them for 3 quarters. In the 4th quarter, Indiana just snapped it on. All right, guys, our third leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're doing SGA under 8.5 assists. We're grabbing this one. This is the highest line, minus 275 in terms of odds. This is kind of a hate bet, honestly. He screwed us over in game 1. We bet him over 5.5 assists. He finished with just 3. Now we're going to fade him and take his under an assist in this one. And honestly, the data supports it. He's got really good numbers here on this under. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging just 6.7 assists per game over his last 10 games. Again, like we mentioned, in game 1, just 3 assists. Now, he did have 11 potential assists, but, you're never going to have a 100% hit rate when those potential assists. So, as long as he gets no more than 8 assists, we should be good to go here. And again, he's only done that twice in the last 10, both time versus Minnesota. 9 assists on May 20th and 10 assists on May 26th. Even the last 20 games, which again, at this point, are pretty much all playoff games, except for the last couple, or this game right here, April 4th versus the Rockets. The rest are all playoff games, and an 85% hit rate. 17 of his last 20 games, he's cashed this under, averaging just 6.85 assists per game over his last 20 games. So again, 3 times in the last 20 games has he managed to cash the over. So we got a lot of good data, even the season numbers, right? Playoff and regular season, an 83% hit rate on this under, averaging just 6.4 assists per game this year. So really good solid data here, and then the head-to-head department as well. Each of his last 4 matchups with the Pacers cashed the under, averaging 6 assists per game. Now, a couple of close calls there this year, 8 assists and 8 assists, but I think the data seems to support even last year's data, playoff and regular season. 86% hit rate. the guy doesn't really swing a lot of assists. He's more of a score-first point guard, and it shows. All right, guys, our fourth leg of our 5-leg parlay. We can't just do all Thunder players, so a little Pacer palette cleanser here. We got Pascal Siakam of the Pacers, over 19.5 points plus assists. Yes, I'm running back pretty much the same line I ran back in Game 1, but Siakam has been Mr. Reliable lately when it comes to this line. Minus 200 over on FanDuel is what we're grabbing it for. And solid numbers here. 9 of the last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 26.3 points plus assists per game over the last 10 games. And again, the one miss he has back on May 25th against the Knicks, he missed it by 1 point/assist. So really good numbers across the board here for Siakam. Even look at the last 20 game data, 75% hit rate. 15 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 23.85 points plus assists per game over the last 20 games. So some really good numbers here in the playoffs for Siakam. And even if we go ahead and stretch the data out the entire season, view playoff and regular season combined for Siakam, a 74% hit rate on this over, averaging 23.71 points plus assists per game overall this year. So again, across the board, a lot of green. Yes, it's an alternate line, so you would expect this to be the case. But even for an alternate line, the data is very strong, especially for minus 200. And then from a head-to-head perspective, 4 of his last 5 matchups with the Thunder, he's cashed the over, averaging 20.8 points plus assists per game over their last 5 matchups. Again, Game 1, he did cash the over with 19 points and 3 assists. And we scroll down below here, you know, the minutes played. He played 35 minutes. We like to see that. High usage rate. But the shot attempts too, excuse me. The shot attempts too. He shot 47% from the floor, which isn't bad, but obviously he left some more opportunity on the table. 15 shot attempts, shot 7 for 15. Could have done a little bit more, and that's encouraging. He still cashed the over regardless, shooting less than 50% from the floor, but he obviously could have done even more, which obviously is exciting. And the potential assists, he had 5 potential assists, and he finished with 3. So again, could have had a little bit more, but obviously he's going to carry this mostly in points. But yeah, I like the spot. We know OKC defensively, they're really good pretty much in every category. They're really strong defensively. They're the anti-Pacers in that regard, I guess, in terms of their season rankings for defense versus position. But I think Siakam is one of those players where he can, overcome any defensive matchup. And he did it in Game 1. I mean, again, didn't have a great performance, but 19 points and 3 assists, got the job done and helped the Pacers on their way to victory. So that's our 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. And wrapping things up, guys, our 5th and final leg of today's parlay. This might be my favorite leg of the parlay. We have Chet Holmgren of the Thunder, over 20.5 points plus rebounds. We're grabbing it from minus 235 over on FanDuel. He is due for a massive bounce-back game after a woefully disappointing Game 1 performance. Now, the data is pretty strong across the board here on this Holmgren prop. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 22.9 points plus rebounds per game over the last 10. Even the last 20 games, 70% hit rate, averaging 23.75 points plus rebounds per game over the last 20 games. And the overall season data, a 69... Pause for the applause. 69% hit rate on the season for Chet Holmgren. For a Sexy Saturday 5-leg parlay, a 69% hit rate. Come on. It's written in the stars that this leg is going to come through for us. The moral of the story being that all the data, last 10, last 20 overall, he's got 69, again, pause for applause, 69% hit rate or higher in each of those 3 categories. The numbers are really solid across the board. Even the head-to-head data, a 67% hit rate, much smaller sample size, grant you. 2 of the last 3, though, and those other 2 that he cashed came from last year. This is the first time he's playing the Pacers this year. He missed both matchups due to injury. But even the head-to-head data is not bad. Again, how much can we go off of from last year? That's up to you to decide. But obviously, he just had a really bad Game 1. He only ended up playing 23.5 minutes. Didn't even play a lot in comparison to what he normally plays. But just had a bad game. Shot 2 for 9 from the floor. He did have 11 rebound chances. He finished with 6 rebounds in that game. So he left some rebounds on the table. He definitely left some points on the table. And Holmgren, he is one of their most important players. They lose Game 1. I do think a big reason why they lost, besides the fact that the Halliburton came to town, I probably should stop making that joke, but I think it's funny. Obviously, Halliburton's theatrics and his heroics really saved them in the end. But I do think Chet Holmgren not playing to the best of his ability definitely hurt the Thunder in Game 1. Had Holmgren played better, I don't think Halliburton has a chance to affect that game in the way he does. Holmgren, I think Game 2, you cannot lose. You cannot go to Indiana down 0-2. You have to win this game. And if they're going to win, Chet Holmgren has to be a vital part of that. So I think it's a big bounce-back game for Holmgren. The Pacers versus power forwards, 20th in points allowed, 25th in rebounds. And versus centers, 19th in points, 25th in rebounds. Holmgren kind of plays between the 4 and the 5, although he's traditionally a 5, I guess you could say, although he's nothing about him as a traditional center. But either way, it's a solid defensive matchup. He had a really bad shooting night in game 1. I think he'll definitely bounce back here in game 2. They have to capitalize on home court, and again, home run will be a pivotal part of that performance here tonight. If he has another bad game tonight, we could be going to Indiana down 0-2. So very interesting spot here. I think Chet Holmgren will rise to the occasion and have a very solid bounce back performance. That's the 5th and final leg of today's parlay. So jumping on over to FanDuel, quick little run through here, guys. We got Alex Caruso over 7.5 points, SGA under 8.5 assists, Chet Holmgren over 20.5 points plus rebounds, Isaiah Hartenstein over 11.5 points plus rebounds, and Pascal Siakam over 19.5 points plus assists. You parlay all 5 legs together, you got a parlay of plus 637 odds over on FanDuel. And guys, we're on a pretty decent run. The last 2 parlays, we had a 5-leg parlay for plus 535 odds. Now, we did lose in game 1, but again, 3 out of 4 legs hit, and SGA was the only leg that did not hit. But we had a couple of good reads there. So we've been seeing the board pretty clearly for the most part, in particular these alternate lines. 5-leg parlay plus 637 odds. Again, if you comment finals down below and this parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $50 Amazon gift card. I'm in the mood to win some cash here, guys. I know you are too. So let's go ahead and ride this parlay together. And let's go ahead and be big winners here tonight. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back with another NBA player prop video for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Game 2. And again, make sure to comment finals. You don't want to miss out on this opportunity to go ahead and win some free money on top of winning money for cashing the parlay, potentially. Until Game 3, guys, I hope you're all winners. Let's go ahead and make some big-time money. Let's go, baby.